We are visiting the Florence Indian Mound and Museum in Florence, Alabama. It was an important cultural center thousands of years ago that once dominated this section of the Tennessee River Valley. An earlier map of the mound from the 1800s shows it as a quadrilateral shape with its four corners roughly lining up with the cardinal directions. There were excavations done here by the University of Alabama, and they concluded that the mound was probably built between AD 100 and 500. They also determined, roughly 1,000 years later, Mississippian-era people added more earth to the summit. The woodland-era people that built the site belonged to the Hopewellian cultural group, more specifically the Copena Mortuary Complex. The word Copena comes from the combination of two words, copper and galena, or lead sulfide, which was traded heavily among the people and was used to create jewelry and other items for which was found buried with the dead. The mound also contained an earthen enclosure that was probably 12 to 15 feet in height and went around the mound from riverbank to riverbank. The museum that is on site is truly incredible, to say the least. They catalog each artifact and display it for each general period. Check it out, everyone. We're at the prehistoric mound in Florence, Alabama. It was the heart of Indigenous Culture Center. Dates between AD 100 and 500. There's an early photograph of it right here. It's a hexagonal mound. We're going to walk into the museum here. There's the mound. We're going to walk up that here in a minute. Huh?
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
I wonder where we can go to.
They found pottery pieces, shirts, all kinds of stuff. There's different types of stuff that they found. Oh, this is cool. A monolithic axe. There are 34 of these rare axes recorded in the southeastern United States. Only 34. That's cool. Check out some of these things. Rabbit's foot, spike. Things I've never heard of. Check out these arrowheads here. That's cool. Different kinds of shells. Different animal bones. That's cool. Arrowhead. Cool. Check these out, Cynthia.
You can touch them. They don't move though.
It's the early archaic period over here. It talks about making flint artifacts.
Airheads.
That's cool. Talks about it talks about the early people here. It's got different artifacts from different periods. It tells you when they're dated. This is a late archaic period.
Look at this. It changes over time.
That is cool. What the heck? It's like a little mini display. That's really cool. It's like a little miniature world in there.
Oh.
Florence
is one of the last remnants of a vanished civilization that once populated the Muscle Shoals area.
What'd you see?
In the door.
Oh, dude, those are cool. It's like hammers.
Okay, so arrows.
That's cool, man.
It's a special place. The people that built the mound were probably in the late woodland stage, or cultural period. That's about 3,000 years before now, up until about 800 years from now.
The immensity of the structure is almost overwhelming, considering the primitive methods used for its construction. The mound stands 43 feet tall, with a base of over 71,000 square feet and a flat top 145 feet in length.
People often ask me sometimes, Brother Tom, how did they build that thing? They did it with white oak baskets. And it was a very time-consuming process. It was built by probably one basket at a time full of dirt from the surrounding area.
Just like Pinson.
It's important because it's one of the few woodland ceremonial centers in the southeast.
Well, this mound is a flat-top mound, and that's typical of ceremonial mounds, and people would gather there for the ceremonies. I think that it was celebrations, time of the green corn. That's a very, very special time for the southeastern peoples, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Creek, and the Cherokee, the time of the green corn. A birth of maybe of a child. They lived around the mound, and the mound was surrounded by a palisade.
The woodland cultures did not have palisades or enclosures for protection.
We really don't know. I've heard so many variations of that, why the wall was there. It's something probably lost in time because there's too many variations of it.
So far, there is no evidence of burials in the mound, but some believe that the base may contain a central tomb with the remains of a revered dignitary.
I don't know that anyone's ever inhabited it. I really don't. But speaking to my grandmother's people from other mounds, like the Great Serpent Mound and places like that, they never showed any activity that I've been aware of.
There is also no evidence for a structure atop the mound or within the boundaries of the wall.
Over 90% of the content of woodland mounds is mystery.
To me, it is a very, very spiritual place. And I will tell you right now, all of the native people that have been here will tell you the same thing.
Outside the walled mound, there is evidence of village dwellings, the same woodland age as the mound. This area was rich in natural resources that proved essential to the Native Americans. Forests furnished trees for firewood and building materials. Nuts, berries, and wild game provided abundant food. Woodland Indians were skilled potters, creating beautifully decorated ceramic vessels. They used natural clays, adding pebbles and sand. These vessels were used to cook, store, and serve their foods. They also developed the bow and arrow, which allowed for better hunting and protection. Limestone formations containing chert nodules were so readily available that no quarrying was necessary.
There is a lot of this Fort Payne chert that's here, and it was very good to make all kind of arrowheads, spear points, hoes, tools of all sorts.
Fishing was good too. Spearing and hooking fish was both took place.
Freshwater creeks and streams cut through this land. The Tennessee River, known as the river that sings, was the lifeblood for these early people, providing a means of easy transportation and an abundance of fish and mussels. Mussel shells were used in a variety of ways, including scrapers for hollowing out logs to be made into dugout canoes.
They had the river here. They had this fantastic fertile land here. That's one thing.
No longer were these natives primarily hunters and gatherers. The moderate climate and rich soils allowed farming of sunflowers, corn, beans, squash, maize, and other vegetables.
I just think it was just a paradise, and most of the people do. My grandmother's people believe it was.
The Florence Mound stands today as a shrine, shrouded by an ancient aura that continues to baffle attempts to define its reason for being and its true place in the history of a forgotten people.
If all these stories fall silent, who will teach our children? If you don't do things like Florence, Alabama is doing by preserving this beautiful, beautiful mound, where will it end?
There you go, that was a little informative video. Check out these artifacts right here. These are cool. Look at these different types of arrowheads and points that they have. This is really amazing, just the level of stuff that they got here. Some different types of tools and other artifacts here. I think that's a pipe of some kind. Got some other artifacts here. Different tools. Other types of tools, stone tools. Kilts, stone axes, grinding stones, pestles. We all know what that is. They got some really cool artifacts here. And check out these artifacts. Check out these decorative beads that they got. It's a quartz crystal. Heck yeah, dude. These right here were found below Wilson Dam. These right here. Here's some more stuff. Those are clay pipes, beads. That's pretty cool engraving right there.
These are very small glasses over here.
Different bones there that were possibly used as tools and possible needle points, sewing needles. And then we start getting into the Mississippian period. Different ceramics and pots and stuff.
See it last time?
Oh, cool. Gorgets. Those were found basically everywhere. These things right here. Many people speculate what these things are and what they represent. But from what I understand, they were worn around the neck, kind of like a necklace, to show like superiority and power. And I'm trying to see what the designs are on these. And a lot of them are similar. They always seem to depict rotating counterclockwise, whatever symbol it may be that's on them, which a lot of them have different types of symbols. This is cool. Check that out.
Can't even see that. It's a handmade doll.
What are these?
See,
They're like engraved and stuff.
it says early historic conflicts.
Those are cool. Different kinds of stuff, man. A Cherokee. This is a Cherokee basket right here. Etched pottery bowl. Is that a frog? That is a frog. That's cool. It's a medicine bowl which is used by shamans to mix herbs, roots, and plants for healing purposes. Check out that mask. That's cool.
Kind of creepy looking.
It's a Cherokee ceremonial mask. That's cool. Look at this stuff. This was found near the Tuscumbia Landing. It's a small port at the confluence of the Tennessee River and Spring Creek, west of Sheffield, Alabama.
Look at these glasses, Daddy.
That's cool.
Along with the
Lead balls and stuff. And that's cool. Look at those.
and the smallest
Those
glasses.
shards there. There's some different things that they found at that area.
And some glasses. Want the glass?
That's cool. It tells right here about the history of Native Americans. Talks about Hernando de Soto. Check these out. These garments right here. Jacket, dress, and different potteries. This is cool.
There used to be a hole and a stick sticking in it.
This is really cool, man. This is a neat place.
And look at these bags.
I see. Here's some stuff over here about the Trail of Tears. It talks about more than 100,000 Native Americans were forced to leave their homeland in the southeast and settle in a new Oklahoma Indian territory. Thousands died along the way. And it tells right here, it shows the routes that they had to take. The red represents land routes that they took from here all the way to there. The blue would be water routes. And the green would be other major routes. Over 16,000 Cherokees were locked up in stockades before being forced marched on the arduous 800-mile journey west. This was a sash that was worn by a chief of the Chickasaws. That's cool. This place is really cool, man.
Man, everybody, yeah, finding a pyramid.
Yeah, that's the Mississippian period. That looks kind of like the Cahokian mound, the Monk's Mound.
I saw like a steel pyramid.
Like the Mayans.
All right, it's talking right here about Hernando de Soto. If y'all don't know who that dude was, he was like a Spanish conquistador, and he raided the Aztecs in 1519, I believe, around that time, 1519, 1520, because he seen large quantities of gold and jewels. And whenever he came back, after he mustered up an army for a year, he came back a year later and they were all gone and all the treasure was gone. And many people speculate where that gold and jewels and stuff went. Some people speculate that they went to Utah, to the Uinta Basin.
There's an exit over there to the lobby.
Come on, sweetheart, let's go look at the mound. It talks about knowing the age of an object. These artifacts are freaking cool. I just love the way they preserve them. It's talking about the late woodland period there.
They couldn't find an arrowhead outside.
Shrouded in mystery, the huge
Middle woodland period, early woodland period. Yeah, they got some cool stuff, man. I like the way they preserve stuff.
The Indians picked this area as a great spot, a strategic spot.
Then we got the woodland period.
This is the largest mound in the Tennessee Valley.
It's a very, very special place.
It's talking about how they would exchange different materials from all over the United States.
Late woodland stage.
It says right here, during the late woodland times, there were obvious reductions of both the numbers of artifacts made of non-local materials and the construction of earthworks.
800 years from now.
And then sometime around 8700, bow and arrow technology was introduced to eastern North America. This is cool. Check this out. This is cool. Huh?
They went outside.
Oh, 43. Prehistoric mound, probably built between 100 BC and 400 AD. That's the same time frame as Pinson mounds. This is the highest, I can't pronounce that word, mound in the Tennessee Valley. It was probably built between 100 BC and 400 AD by prehistoric people of the ancient woodland culture. Such mounds served as bases for ceremonial temples or chiefs' houses. This mound, originally encircled by an earthen wall, contains no burials. It is 43 feet in height. Its base measurements are 310 feet by 230 feet. Its flat top measures 145 feet by 94 feet. Evidence indicates that nearby there were two smaller mounds, villages, and cultivated fields. You want to go up here, Dad? I'm going. This is just cool. Dun dun dun. Climbing up a huge mountain. There's the remnants of a big tree that was once there. Woo! My goodness, look at the size of the top of this. Whew. Whew, my goodness. This Aboriginal Indian ceremonial mound was donated to the city of Florence February 26, 1945 by Miss Martha Ashcraft Dabney and her daughter Miss Josephine Dabney Brabson. Whew.
Look at this that I found.
Goodness.
Hey, look.
What'd you find, sweetie? Cool stick? That's awesome.
Looks like it's a piece of a walking stick.
Come here, man. Alright, I gave Michael the male meter. He's gonna walk around and take some readings on top of this mound. What'd you get?
0.4.
Hello down there. He didn't want to come up. He said there's too many steps to climb. Hey Cynthia, stay right there. I'm gonna take a picture of you. We're gonna look off this side, see if we can see the river. I don't think we can. We can see the railroad tracks though. Yeah, we can see the river from here. Barely. That's how far up we are right now. Yeah, you can see the river right over there. The Tennessee River. This is cool.
At least you're still alive, but you're down for a few legs, but hey, your legs on the fence down there.
Heck yeah, dude.
Hurt me getting in it.
Yeah, they said there was 2 smaller mounds somewhere nearby in villages and stuff. This was the main mound that they chose to preserve, I reckon. Hello down there. What you guys want to do now? Going exploring? Look at these roots of this tree. It's so good stuff.
It's very lumpy.
There's a battlefield around here.
Hey, that looks like
Let's go see if we can find it. Y'all want to try to find some other cool stuff to go check out?
yeah.
3.5.
Yeah, I get it on record, so